Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about massive news of a huge link between Quant and the South Korean central bank. So before we talk about the main story today, I'd like to show you a clip provided by the Quant team where the actual clip goes into detail and provides insights in regards to Quant's Overledger offering and how Overledger could be incorporated and utilized by blockchain infrastructures around the world, and how the utility of Overledger could improve the seamlessness and the ability for actions and transactions synonymous with blockchain networks to occur at a given time through the usage of Overledger.
Banks and payment companies are exploring digital currencies to increase access to financial services whilst automating processes and lowering costs. Effective management of cryptographic keys and transaction signing is essential for authorization of blockchain transactions, but it remains a challenge. Existing key management solutions were not built for blockchain. Many lack the security and utility at scale needed to support millions of customers and billions of transactions. Overledger Authorize from Quant provides central bank grade key management for large-scale authorizations on multiple networks. Using flexible APIs, Authorize integrates with existing identity management, anti-fraud engines and AI models to authenticate and sign transaction requests. Keys can be generated and stored automatically in proprietary or third-party vaults. Once signed, transactions are passed to any supporting blockchain through Overledger, allowing seamless payments, transfers, and other transactions to major blockchains. Developers no longer need to code specific cryptographic interfaces to connect every blockchain and key store to every internal system. Authorize does it all. With Overledger Authorize, financial institutions and developers can securely overcome the hurdles of key management and bring authentication to the blockchain era. Talk to us and discover Authorize for your business.
So as detailed by the clip, Overledger comes with a number of innate qualities which makes it ideal, especially in regards to the ability for datasets synonymous with specific blockchains to be transported between each other at a given time. And this is further compounded with such information being able to be verified, stored, and tracked quite seamlessly and quite coherently through the utility of Overledger at a given time. So with the key benefits and the intrinsic qualities which makes Overledger a highly attractive proposition in terms of the sending of datasets and other assets, including transactions between varying blockchain networks and DLTs at a given time, a number of stakeholders have actually come forward and have actually stated as to how the likes of Overledger could become increasingly more important, especially in development surrounding financial architecture and infrastructure and CBDC developments around the world, where one such initiative which involves CBDC protocols and developments is the Bank of Korea, or the Central Bank of Korea, testing a wholesale CBDC for the overarching nation with the Bank for International Settlement. So as part of this initiative, both financial bodies are actually working in conjunction to design and develop and potentially incorporate a unified ledger, which again will improve the seamlessness and the ability for future CBDCs to interact, and also for CBDCs to interact with legacy financial architecture. So a fantastic thread was put together by Tokenizer on Twitter, where he actually highlighted to how the utility of networks and infrastructure, including Quant's Overledger, could be the underlying infrastructure which provides unified ledger capacity, which in turn will allow for varying CBDCs to interact, interoperate and interconnect. And this is also compounded with Overledger also providing the capacity for CBDCs and legacy financial infrastructures to again interact, interoperate and communicate. So as part of this initiative, a report was put forward and put together by the Bank for International Settlement and the Central Bank of Korea, where as part of this initiative and this article, the actual article again highlighted to the need for a unified ledger, and also highlighted to how a well-suited permission ledger would be required to enable such assets and datasets to be transported between each other at a given time, in this case CBDCs and other financial instruments. And this will be all enabled and developed through the utility of DLT and blockchain infrastructure. So very exciting, and it again indicates how the utility of mechanisms and use cases and technologies including Overledger could become more encompassing and be more widely incorporated and utilized, especially in regards to the bridging of CBDCs and between CBDCs and traditional financial architecture and infrastructure. So the South Korean central bank again highlighted to the need for CBDC pilot schemes to be rolled out, and actually provided a diagrammatic illustration of how a CBDC could function. And as part of the diagram, there was a highlighting of API gateways, especially in regards to how smart contracts could be incorporated and utilized into CBDC fabric, where smart contracts could be utilized, especially in regards to the utility and the capacity for predetermined actions to be authorized, validated and executed at a given time. And this will be increasingly more important, especially in regards to CBDC framework and infrastructure, where what puts CBDCs and DLT ahead, especially when compared to traditional financial architecture and infrastructure, is the capacity for the utility of smart contracts. So predetermined financial architecture and settings could be put into place before a given action is authorized and validated. So this capacity and potential utility of smart contracts, coupled with the increased need and necessity for API gateways, all goes back to Quant and especially Overledger, where Overledger comes with a number of exciting and quite useful indications and use cases, especially in regards to universal interoperability, where Overledger acts as a unified and underlying infrastructure that provides the capacity for varying backgrounds and varying networks to connect, and not only just CBDCs but also between potential DLT-backed CBDCs and traditional architecture and financial systems. So this all goes back to Quant's association with the Bank for International Settlement, where both bodies have actually worked in conjunction to design and have actually worked in conjunction in a project known as Project Rosalind, where during this project the two bodies actually worked in conjunction to determine the need for API gateways for future CBDC systems. So with Quant already working alongside the Bank for International Settlement in regards to API gateways, and with the Bank of Korea and the BIS also working in conjunction about CBDC developments and API gateways, this could potentially lead to Overledger potentially being harnessed and being the underlying unified ledger which connects varying CBDCs around the world, and also connecting CBDCs with traditional financial architecture and infrastructure. So very exciting, and again it'll be interesting to see whether Quant does have a direct partnership and role in regards to CBDC developments, not just within Korea but around the world. So another article I'd like to talk about is, again as I mentioned, Project Rosalind, where the Bank for International Settlement and Quant actually worked in conjunction during the Project Rosalind initiative and development. So during the project, both bodies actually commented and actually worked in conjunction to design and roll out a CBDC platform which provides universal interoperability. And this is merely a pilot scheme at the moment, but it will be interesting to see how these developments play out over the long run, and whether the likes of Overledger and other unified interoperability mechanisms could be harnessed into the fabric of the future of finance, and how the future of finance will have some degree of interoperability and connectivity with traditional systems and architecture. So another development I'd like to talk about is how, again, the Bank for International Settlement are actually working and have actually conducted research surrounding a M-Bridge CBDC platform and project. So an M-Bridge CBDC platform is merely a mechanism that the Bank for International Settlement is currently conducting research for, which is mainly centered around providing a unified ledger that provides connectivity between varying CBDCs around the world. So the Biz actually provided an article and paper discussing the need for an all-encompassing MCBDC bridge to provide universal interoperability and improving the seamlessness and efficiency of financial architecture and execution, especially over the long run. And again, this all goes back to Overledger, where, as I mentioned before, the BIS and Quant have actually worked in conjunction, as stated by Verdian in this tweet here. And again, Overledger comes with a fabric which can act as a unifying ledger that connects varying networks of varying backgrounds, including DLTs and CBDC. So it'll be interesting to see how Quant, or whether Overledger, is harnessed into such frameworks and infrastructure, and whether Quant could be the all-encompassing network that acts as and provides an MCBDC bridge for all stakeholders. And again, this is the article provided by the Biz about the MCBDC bridge initiative. And another development I like to talk about is how the Bank for International Settlement have actually conducted research and provided a paper in regards to the utility of smart contracts based on carbon credits attached to green bonds. So the actual article highlighted to how DLT could be harnessed to improve the carbon credit marketplace, and again, the actual article highlighted to how interoperability would become increasingly more important, especially as a way of varying DLTs and blockchain networks to interact at a given time. So again, Overledger could be the answer for this potential use case, and yeah, it indicates how Overledger and Quant as a whole could be harnessed into a multiple number of industries around the world, and not just CBDC developments, where Quant is generally known for its involvement in CBDC developments around the world. But with Quant now being potentially earmarked for initiatives, especially within the carbon credit marketplace, Quant's use cases isn't limited to just financial architecture and instruments. So very exciting, and it adds to a potential another use case surrounding Quant's Overledger and Quant as a whole. What are your thoughts on Quant? Do you think the BIS will use Quant for CBDC developments around the world? Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching Crypto Clan. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.